In the whimsical world of the enchanted forest, where the winds waltz and the clouds cavort, a cacophony of chaos unfolded in the cozy confines of a glittering glade. The Stormpixies, those sprightly sprites with shimmering wings and mischievous grins, had partaken in a raucous revelry that would make even the most seasoned partygoers blush. As dawn's delicate fingers stretched across the sky, painting it in pastel hues of peach and periwinkle, the Stormpixies lay sprawled in a tangled tapestry of tinsel and twinkling lights. Their once vibrant hair now resembled a nest of knotted noodles, each strand sticking out at absurd angles as if they had been caught in a particularly playful gust of wind. Beneath a bough bedecked with baubles and balloons, Buzzy Bumblebee snored softly, his tiny frame twitching as he dreamt of dancing dandelions. Nearby, Twinkle Toes, a tantalizing temptress with a penchant for the dramatic, was lounging languidly on a lackluster disco ball, her resplendent, radiant robe refracting light like a kaleidoscope of fallen celestial bodies. Her gown, a mesmerizing mesh of mesmerizing magnificence, glimmered and glowed with an otherworldly intensity, as if the very essence of stardust had been woven into its fabric. The disco ball, once a beacon of boogie and revelry, now served as a humble pedestal for Twinkle Toes' dazzling display of decadence. The glittering gown, a symphony of sparkles and shine, shimmered and shone like 1,000 tiny diamonds scattered across the velvet expanse of the night sky. As Twinkle Toes lounged, her lavish locks cascaded down her back like a tumble of tumbling tornadoes, each strand a testament to her titillating, tongue-tingling beauty. A half-empty bottle of bubbleberry brew lay precariously balanced on her head, threatening to topple at any moment. "Blistering blizzards!" bellowed Wobblewing Wally as he rolled over to find himself face to face with an inflatable flamingo named Frederick. "What kind of calamity is this? Did we really invite Frederick to our frolic?" The air was thick with the scent of sweet syrupy snacks and slightly sour shenanigans. Fluffy Fizzlepop floated lazily above them all, her wings drooping like wilted flowers after an unexpected downpour. "I can't believe we danced until dawn," she mumbled sleepily, her voice barely rising above a whisper as she swayed gently in midair. "Dancing? I thought we were debating the merits of marshmallow marshes," piped up Giddy Glittergale from beneath a pile of plush pillows that looked suspiciously like they had been borrowed from the local cloud cafe. Suddenly, with an exaggerated yawn that echoed through the glade like thunder rumbling across distant hills, Snappy Snapdragon sprung upright. "Awake! Awaken! The day demands our delightful deeds," she declared dramatically before promptly falling back into her slumber. With giggles bubbling up like fizzy soda pop, the other Stormpixies began to stir. They blinked their bright eyes against the sunlight streaming through the trees and exchanged bewildered looks filled with both confusion and amusement. "Who knew that one night could lead to such ludicrous lunacy?" mused Twinkle Toes Tilly as she finally managed to dislodge Frederick from her head. And so began another day in the enchanted forest. A day filled with laughter, lightheartedness, and perhaps just a hint more moderation when it came to bubbleberry brews. "Good gracious," Commander Zephyr groaned, gently gripping her glimmering headgear. "Please, remind me to refrain from feasting on fermented moonbeams henceforth."
The remnants of the raucous revelry lay strewn like shimmering stardust in a tempestuous tornado. Commander Zephyr, her antennae drooping dismally, diligently surveyed the surreal scene. The once vibrant venue was now a chaotic canvas of colorful confetti and enchanted echoes. Glittering goblets tipped over, spilling sparkling starlight like liquid laughter across the floor. Ethereal wisps of whimsy danced through the air, leaving trails of iridescent light that flickered and faded like fleeting dreams. As she navigated through the nebula of nonsense, Commander Zephyr's mind whirled with whimsical wonders and wild whimsies. The air was thick with the scent of sweetened stardust and hints of cosmic candy, remnants of an otherworldly feast that had spiraled into delightful disarray. With a sigh that shimmered like a shooting star, she pondered the peculiar potion that had propelled her into this pandemonium. Next time, she mused aloud, I shall stick to sipping soothing solar smoothies instead. Thus, Commander Zephyr resolved to steer clear of such magical mischief in future festivities. After all, even the most intrepid interstellar adventurers must heed the lessons learned from their own enchanting escapades. Empty flagons, crumpled party poppers, and a stray giggling mushroom adorned the clearing.
Rise and shine, you lot! Zephyr barked, clapping her hands. We've got a whole forest to tidy before sunrise, or the dryads will have our wings.
Around her, the rest of the Stormpixie Squadron groaned in various states of disarray. Flicker, the Stormpixie's second-in-command, was a whirlwind of chaos wrapped in iridescent wings that shimmered like a disco ball at a particularly enthusiastic party. With hair that seemed to defy gravity, spiky and crackling with static electricity, she had an aura of mischief about her. Flicker was known for her penchant for getting into trouble, often leading her fellow pixies into situations that could only be described as delightfully disastrous. Her eyes sparkled with the kind of energy that suggested she might just zap you if you made her laugh too hard. Now, as she wrestled with a luminous streamer that had apparently decided it wanted to become her new best friend, Flicker flailed about like a fish out of water. "Why do these things always happen to me?" she exclaimed, her voice a mix of exasperation and giggles. The streamer twirled around her like it was auditioning for a role in the next big circus act, its glow intensifying with each futile attempt she made to escape its grasp. "Help! I'm being abducted by an overzealous glow stick!" Flicker shouted dramatically, throwing her hands up in surrender as if the universe itself had conspired against her. Meanwhile, the other pixies watched in bemusement, their tiny faces lit up with laughter at their leader's antics. In this absurdist moment, Flicker embodied the spirit of chaos, the very essence of what it meant to be a storm pixie. She was both the storm and the calm, tangled up in a battle against an inanimate object that clearly had more enthusiasm than sense. In this whimsical scene filled with absurdity and humor, Flicker's struggle against the luminous streamer serves as a reminder that sometimes life is just one big tangle waiting to happen, and all you can do is laugh while trying to wriggle free. Sparkle was snoring softly, a half-eaten glitter bomb clutched in his tiny fist. The squadron grumbled but slowly began to stir, the remnants of their revelry fading with the moonlight. Little did they know, a far stranger fate awaited them than a scolding from the dryads.
Commander! She squeaked, pointing with a trembling finger. What in the name of shimmering stardust is that?
Flicker, ever the observant one, was the first to notice it. A ripple of unease spread through the clearing. The pixies gathered, their hangovers momentarily forgotten, and stared at the anomaly. In a whimsical whirl of wobbly wonder, the pixies, their pounding heads momentarily muted by the magical mayhem, meandered towards the magnificent mystery. There, cradled in the crooked embrace of ancient oaks, dangled a dazzling doorway to dimensions unknown. This shimmering spectacle pulsated with an otherworldly glow, colors cascading and cavorting like a kaleidoscope caught in a cosmic conundrum. With giggles bubbling and glee glistening in their eyes, the pint-sized sprites squinted at the surreal sight before them. Their hangovers, those pesky little gremlins of yesterday's revelry, were but fleeting phantoms as they fixated on this fantastical phenomenon. The portal shimmered and shuddered, beckoning them closer with its hypnotic hues that danced like dervishes in a dream. As they approached, the portal pulsed with peculiar patterns. Pinks pirouetted into purples, while greens galloped into golds. It was as if a painter had spilled an entire palette onto a canvas made of starlight. Each color shift sent ripples through the air, tickling their tiny toes and teasing their tattered wings. The very essence of absurdity wrapped around them like a warm blanket woven from whimsy. "Behold!" one particularly plucky pixie proclaimed, her voice tinkling like wind chimes caught in a gentle breeze. "This is no ordinary opening. It's an invitation to insanity." With that declaration hanging in the air like a ripe fruit ready to fall, they all leaned closer, hearts racing with reckless curiosity. Suddenly, as if responding to their collective gasp of awe, the portal began to swirl faster. a dizzying dance that threatened to whisk them away into realms where reality twisted like pretzels and logic took long vacations. "Shall we leap?" another pixie chirped excitedly, her eyes sparkling with mischief. And just like that, with laughter echoing through the enchanted grove, they prepared to plunge headfirst into this swirling vortex of vibrant chaos. Peering back at the peculiar portal, it pulsated with a playful pizzazz that pranced and pirouetted through the air, sending shivers of shimmering delight down their delicate antennae. The whimsical whirring of the dimensional doorway danced like a dervish, tickling their senses and sending their wings into a wild whirl of wobbly worry. As they gazed upon this fantastical fissure in reality, it radiated a raucous resonance that resonated with rapture, wrapping around them like a warm woolen blanket woven from the whispers of whimsical winds. Each hum was a harmonious hymn, hinting at hidden horizons where haphazard happenings hovered just beyond the veil of the known. The very air crackled with chaotic charm as if mischievous pixies were plucking strings on an invisible harp. Their wings quivered with quizzical curiosity, caught in a cacophony of cosmic conundrums. What wonders awaited beyond this bizarre boundary? Would they tumble into a tangle of technicolor toadstools, or perhaps be greeted by giggling gnomes engaged in an epic game of interdimensional hopscotch? The thought sent delightful shivers down their spines, igniting an insatiable itch for adventure that buzzed like bees in a blooming garden. In this realm where reality twisted and turned like a topsy-turvy teacup ride, every glance back at the portal was a peek into pandemonium, a promise of peculiar possibilities waiting to be plucked from the tapestry of time and space.
Well, drawled Zephyr, tilting her head, that's not something you see every millennium, is it?
Curiosity warred with caution in their eyes. The allure of the unknown, especially one so vibrantly presented, was hard to resist. With a grandiose gasp and a goofy grin that screamed, "Why the heck not?" Zephyr zoomed into the zany fray. The flamboyant faction, fueled by a frothy fusion of fear and tipsy tenacity, dove daringly into the dazzling depths of the delightful unknown. The experience, in one whimsical word, was wonderfully wacky. And while we waltz through the whimsical world of wiggly wonders, let's not overlook our delightful sponsor, Swan's Crossing's Enchanted Guitars. Their fantastical fiddles will flutter your heart and have your feet flapping like a flamboyant fowl on frolicking roller skates. Prepare to rock with guitars so spellbinding they might just croon to the cosmos. Once upon a time, in a land where clouds cuddled with cotton candy and rainbows were merely ribbons of raucous revelry, a band of boisterous storm pixies found themselves in quite the conundrum. These mischievous little sprites, known for their knack for causing delightful disturbances in the weather, were flitting about in search of something spectacular. A shop that had mysteriously materialized amidst the swirling chaos of their usual antics. One particularly peculiar day, as the sun shone like a spotlight on a stage set for silliness, the storm pixies were busy orchestrating an uproarious storm. They twisted and twirled through the air, creating gusts that sent leaves dancing and raindrops pirouetting. But lo and behold, just as they were about to unleash their most ludicrous lightning bolt yet, a shimmering shop appeared out of thin air. Swan's Crossing's Enchanted Guitars, it read in glittering letters that sparkled like stars caught in a net. With eyes wide as saucers and giggles bubbling like boiling cauldrons, the storm pixies zipped toward this enchanting emporium. The door swung open with a creak that sounded suspiciously like a giggle itself. Inside, they discovered guitars hanging from ceilings like colorful bats at bedtime, each one radiating an aura of magic so potent it could tickle even the grumpiest goblin's funny bone. As they fluttered from one guitar to another, each strum released melodious mayhem that made their tiny hearts race faster than a rabbit on roller skates. One pixie named Pippin plucked at a particularly vibrant violet guitar adorned with glimmering stars. Suddenly it erupted into song, a tune so catchy that even the clouds outside began to sway. "Oh my giddy goodness," squealed Pippin, "this is no ordinary shop. It's a symphony of silliness." The other storm pixies joined in on the fun, strumming strings and creating cacophonous harmonies that echoed through the enchanted aisles. They danced and pranced around like dervishes dipped in dew until they stumbled upon an ancient-looking guitar tucked away in a corner. The Guitar of Giggles. Legend had it that whoever played this guitar would unleash uncontrollable laughter across the land. With gleeful glee, they took turns strumming its strings until laughter erupted like fireworks on New Year's Eve. The sound was so infectious that even nearby creatures, squirrels wearing spectacles and owls donning top hats, couldn't resist joining in on the jubilation. And thus, amidst all this absurdity and alliteration, our dear storm pixies found themselves not only enchanted by Swan's Crossing's enchanted guitars, but also forever changed by their whimsical experience within its walls. With hearts full of melody and mischief galore, they left with guitars slung over their shoulders, ready to spread joy wherever their winds would take them. With a deep breath and a shrug that said, "Why not?" Zephyr led the charge. The squadron, a mix of apprehension and intoxicated bravado propelling them, plunged headlong into the shimmering unknown. The sensation, in a word, was bizarre. Imagine being spun through a kaleidoscope in a washing machine set to cosmic tumble dry. That, with a dash of existential dread and a sprinkle of glitter, was the closest approximation. When the disorientation subsided, the pixies found themselves deposited unceremoniously onto, well, that was the first question. The ground, if it could be called such a thing, undulated beneath them. It resembled a giant pulsating jelly mold, its surface a riot of colors that would make a rainbow weep in envy.
"By the great glowing glowworm," gasped Sparkle, his eyes wide. "Where in the 9 realms are we?"
"Lost, my dear Sparkle," chirped Zephyr, ever the optimist. "Wonderfully, gloriously lost." She dusted herself off, antennae twitching with a mixture of amusement and steely resolve. "Right then, my fellow adventurers," she announced, her voice ringing with unexpected authority. "New realm, new rules, same old Stormpixie spirit. Let's explore."
And explore they did, with Zephyr at the helm, navigating the bizarre landscape with a mixture of intuition and reckless abandon. The squadron delved into the heart of the unknown. They skimmed across rivers of shimmering liquid that tasted suspiciously like raspberry cordial and scaled mountains made of what appeared to be giant petrified marshmallows.
"This is either brilliant or bonkers," muttered Flicker, as they traversed a field of singing sunflowers. "Or," she added, eyeing a passing cloud that resembled a giant, fluffy sheepdog, "a bit of both." "Embrace the absurdity, Flicker," Zephyr called back, her laughter echoing across the surreal landscape. "It's all part of the adventure."
And so, with laughter and a spirit of adventure, the Stormpixie Squadron continued their zany journey through the unknown.
In a realm where the skies were as turbulent as Stormwing's mood swings, the mighty Set Pixie warrior found himself feeling right at home. With a temperament as stormy as the weather above, he unleashed his lightning-fast reflexes like a caffeinated squirrel on a mission. The forces of nature quivered in fear as Stormwing tapped into his inner weatherman gone wild, wreaking havoc on the battlefield with all the finesse of a bull in a china shop. From summoning winds so fierce they could blow your grandma's wig off to conjuring bolts of lightning that made Zeus jealous, Stormwing was basically Mother Nature's favourite child. Sorry, Mother Earth. As mythical creatures stumbled into his path like lost tourists in a theme park, our hero proved to be more valuable than a golden toilet seat in a palace full of kings. Enter venomous Vexor, the sinister serpent. Because what's a good story without an evil snake thrown into the mix? This nefarious reptile slithered onto the scene with all the grace of a banana peel on roller skates. With scales darker than your ex's sense of humour and eyes that sparkled with all the warmth of a frozen fish market, Vexor was basically Malevolence 101 in snake form. As these two titans clashed, it was like watching a soap opera written by Shakespeare and directed by Tarantino. Dramatic, bloody, and slightly confusing. Stormwing's storms clashed with Vexor's venomous vibes in an epic showdown that had spectators gasping, "Is this for real? Or did someone spike my fantasy potion?" In the end, who emerged victorious? Well, let's just say that when you pit a creature who can control lightning against one whose best trick is spitting venom like an angry llama, things tend to get electrifyingly messy. But hey, at least it made for great entertainment for the realm's residents, assuming they survived the collateral damage.
In a realm where chaos reigns supreme, Sergeant Ember, renowned for his tendency to set his own armor on fire by accident, and Commander Zephyr, whose orders were often carried away by gusts of wind before they could be heard, found themselves on a quest to locate the elusive portal that would lead them back home. Sergeant Ember, with his fiery temperament that matched his unintentional pyrotechnic displays, and Zephyr, whose commands were as fleeting as the breeze itself, embarked on a journey filled with mishaps and misadventures. As they traversed through landscapes where gravity seemed optional, and talking animals debated the merits of wearing hats on their tails, Sergeant Ember attempted to conjure fire magic, but ended up summoning miniature rain clouds that followed him around like disgruntled pets. Meanwhile, Commander Zephyr tried to issue orders only to have them carried off by mischievous sprites who found joy in confusing travelers. In their quest to find the lost portal home, our intrepid adventurers stumbled through forests, where trees recited poetry in languages so ancient that even Google Translate threw in the towel. Picture this, a tree reciting Shakespearean sonnets in Klingon while doing a salsa dance. Hav vigro gatlingen mushagach, ko, e.g. hegdi, e.g. pagmo, teen miss, vaj tlap kar, retil, pabludi leg, nadevo, yin pag yinbe vigro. Wanaga tek remaje. Koilu, jajme maj tlapab kot paganrosi. Mushagach obe mushagach h kuk, cho lotahavis kas rep hoge. Soj vigro wus wagpo mushagach, not shaken hov hach wanderbark worth. So belubog ha kevpob emvo wanha, yagnapag cho lotavis kas rep, klag ej hov hatab, ginut re bang, ngokna yagnapag mushagach. Well, now, that's the level of absurdity we're talking about here. As if that wasn't bizarre enough, they then encountered mountains that not only hummed lullabies, but also critiqued your fashion choices as you passed by. Oh, darling, those socks with sandals are so last millennium, whispered the mountain in a tone dripping with sarcasm. Sergeant Ember, bless his heart, seemed to have mistaken himself for a firework display expert, as accidental bursts of flames followed him every move. It was like a slapstick comedy routine gone wrong, with Sergeant Ember inadvertently auditioning for a role in a circus act he never signed up for. Meanwhile, Commander Zephyr fancied herself as the wise leader of the group, issuing commands in hushed tones that were more likely to get lost in the wind than actually be heard by anyone. "Whisper louder, Zephyr!" someone would inevitably shout from the back, much to everyone's amusement. And now, let's address the elephant, or rather, Stormpixie, in the room. The reason why Stormpixies are no longer frolicking around ancient Egypt is quite the tale. Legend has it that one particularly mischievous Stormpixie named Sparklebottom decided it would be hilarious to play pranks on the pharaohs by rearranging their pyramids every night. Needless to say, this did not go down well with the ruling elite, and Sparklebottom was promptly banished to a realm where pyramid shenanigans were strictly prohibited. So there you have it. A comically absurd journey filled with mishaps, humor, and a sprinkle of sarcasm, all wrapped up in a whimsical tale of why Stormpixies are persona non grata in ancient Egypt. So anyway, finally, after encountering a tribe of sentient mushrooms who offered cryptic advice in exchange for shiny pebbles, Sergeant Ember and Command Zephyr stumbled upon the lost portal home. As Commander Zephyr and her squad stumbled further into this bizarre realm, teeming with dilapidated ruins and fantastical creatures, they realized that their only shot at finding a way back home involved a mishmash of teamwork and embracing their utterly peculiar strengths. With bravery that bordered on sheer lunacy and a generous sprinkle of absurdity at every corner, they trudged forward into the abyss, fully prepared to confront whatever ludicrous challenges lay ahead. In an unexpected turn of events, amidst the chaos of battling sentient cacti and debating existential philosophy with talking rocks, the Stormpixies accidentally stumbled upon the elusive portal home. As luck would have it, just as they were about to activate it, a horde of disgruntled foes from ancient Egypt emerged from the shadows, ready to thwart their escape. In a realm where surreal shenanigans were the norm, the Stormpixies found themselves in a predicament more bizarre than usual. Panic gripped them tighter than a toddler clutching their favorite toy, as they realized they were on the brink of being overrun by an army of mummified cats armed with laser pointers. The absurdity of the situation was not lost on them, for what could be more ludicrous than battling feline foes from ancient Egypt wielding modern technology? Amidst this chaos stood Hildegard Storm, a renowned pixie healer known for her extraordinary abilities to mend even the most peculiar of wounds. As the mummified cats advanced with their menacing laser pointers, Hildegard took charge, her wings shimmering with determination. With a twinkle in her eye and a sprinkle of pixie dust, she readied herself for the battle ahead. Just as one particularly mischievous pixie tripped over a rogue banana peel, because really, why not add insult to injury, inadvertently triggering the portal's activation sequence, Hildegard sprang into action. Dodging laser beams and weaving through the flurry of feline adversaries, she unleashed waves of healing energy upon her fellow pixies, ensuring they remained resilient in the face of such absurd adversity. As the battle raged on, with mummified cats meowing curses and pixies zipping to and fro like fireflies on caffeine, Hildegard's presence was like a beacon of hope amidst the madness. Her healing touch not only restored her companion's strength, but also infused them with a newfound sense of whimsical determination. And so it was that in this whirlwind of surreal absurdity where laser-wielding mummified cats clashed with determined pixies led by the indomitable Hildegard Storm, that victory was eventually secured. The portal hummed to life just in the nick of time, whisking away the feline foes back to their ancient tombs and leaving behind a trail of bewildered but victorious pixies. As the portal pulsated with a cacophony of cosmic chaos, Commander Zephyr and her utterly flabbergasted squadron flung themselves headlong into its glimmering abyss, just in time to dodge a deluge of derisive declarations in ancient Egyptian, each one sounding suspiciously like a critique on their tragically tacky attire. With a final flourish of flamboyant absurdity and an explosive exit strategy involving glitter bombs that would make even the most stoic sphinxes squint in disbelief, our dauntless heroes vanished into the enigmatic ether beyond the portal. The bewildered guardians of the desert stood there, scratching their heads with all the grace of confused cats, pondering why anyone would choose neon green jumpsuits for interdimensional travel. Meanwhile, in a realm where rainbows reigned supreme and unicorns were as common as misplaced socks, Starshine, the fabulously flamboyant unicorn with a mane that shimmered like disco lights, embarked on her own ludicrous journey. Her mission: to procure those elusive, like-powered wings that promised to elevate her social media status from May to magnificent. With each step through fields of cotton candy clouds and marshmallow meadows, Starshine encountered an array of eccentric characters, from the overly enthusiastic glitter gnomes who insisted on giving unsolicited fashion advice, "Darling, those hooves could really use some sparkle," to the philosophical pancake pigeons who pondered life's greatest mysteries while flipping flapjacks mid-flight. "Why chase after likes when you can chase after pancakes?" they cooed, flapping their syrup-slicked wings. But Starshine was undeterred. She knew that without those wings, her Instagram feed would remain tragically unremarkable. As she galloped through this whimsical world filled with absurdity and sarcasm, dripping like syrup from a pancake stack, she vowed to find those fabled wings. Because what good is being a unicorn if you can't flaunt your fabulousness online? And so, with a flick of her sparkly tail and a heart full of sass, Starshine continued her quest through this delightfully bizarre universe where every twist and turn brought new hilarity, and perhaps just enough likes to finally make her feel like the star she truly believed herself to be.